Hey, this is Andy Jenkins, and we have got a 5-week series here for you that is titled Advance. Now, for those of you who've been around Oily App World for any length of time at all, and those of you who've been around me, even kind of pre-Oily App, you know that the Advance is an event that I helped host, helped create it, was writing all the content for it since back in 2000. I think we began that in 2014, and it morphed over time, made some changes, made some turns, and all of that content that we really developed and refined over time, we've put that into a larger book. We've put that into a workbook where we show you how to really plan life and match up some of the essential oils that will really help you do that. Advance is all about moving forward from where you are to where you're designed to be in each area of life. I remember back when we did the live events, we would have men that came, because it was only a men's event. We would have men that came, and they would walk away, most of them, even though we were doing this in a platform that had been set up and launched in conjunction with Young Living Essential Oils. Most of those men would leave and have no goal set about oils, and we absolutely loved it. They would leave with the goal of becoming a better husband, a better father, becoming healthy, and sometimes that might involve some of what they were doing with the oil. Surely some of them got involved with the family business, but the point is, life is so much bigger and broader than what you do for income. It's bigger certainly than what you do for a side hustle. It's bigger than just what you might do for a hobby or just one component of health. Now, certainly all those things are important, but life is so much grander than that. Your dreams are so much bigger than just one piece. And so we loved seeing guys come on board and literally just ignite on fire. Now, in Oily App Plus, there are, at this point, 3-4 courses related to that material. There is one course called The Ladder, if you're a member of Oily App Plus. There's another one actually entitled Advance. There is a book, there's an audio book, all available in Oily App Plus. We call Oily App Plus really the Netflix of essential oils, because you pay a low fee. You can pay by the year and it's cheaper, or you can pay month to month and you get access to 2 new courses a month. You have access to the entire vault of online resources that is growing and accumulating every single month. And you can opt in and you can drop out at any time you want. There's no contract, but I tell you this, it is some of the best, easiest to understand, but goodness, deep diving resources available, I think, and I'm kind of partial, anywhere. All right, so all of that intro said, I'll be back at the end with some information on some free resources we've got for all of you. Let me roll into this episode right here that Dr. Jim Bob and I actually recorded on video. Here's the audio from one of the episodes about Advance. Let's talk about the house. So, we saw that graphic of the ladder earlier, and here's the deal. There are 5 rungs of this ladder. The first rung is the what, the second rung is the how, and as you move up each rung of the ladder, you can kind of think of it like this. You're moving up higher, closer to your dream. And so the what is the first rung of the ladder. And I think about that. Somebody who articulates what they want to do is going to get closer to their dream, higher up the ladder than somebody who doesn't know. That just makes sense. The second rung of the ladder is the how. So somebody who knows how to do it is going to, and more importantly, not just how to do it, but how to prioritize it, is going to get farther up the ladder than somebody who just knows the what. So you had a great graphic up there in the beginning. Go ahead and pull that one up of the iceberg. Everybody has seen this graphic. This one is used ad nauseum, and it reminds me of this quote that John Maxwell has said over and over and over. I heard it at GoPro back in December of 2017 in Las Vegas. He said something like this: most people have uphill dreams, and he holds his hand way up, and he says, but they have downhill habits. It looks like he's dabbing. Uphill dreams, but downhill habits. The problem is that never works. So you've got this dream that you articulated in the previous video: marriage, family, kids, business, finance, health, whatever. Some of you had so many, and you're gonna have a lot. You're probably gonna have 6 or 7 goals going at the same time. Something
right
in every area of your life. The issue is, okay, the uphill habits all happen underneath the surface. So everybody likes to see people standing on stage, standing up, business award, standing up, I lost weight, standing up, I'm financially debt free. So visible success. But all of those uphill habits that Maxwell talks about happen when you're not walking on water. Man, you're swimming underground. So you look at the invisible struggle that's right there.
Yeah, you're treading water. You're not walking on it, you're treading it.
No, if you're lucky, you're treading. You might feel like you're sinking. People ask all the time, like, how do you guys crank out so many books? And you could say this about your videos. It's like we're alone a lot of the time doing the hard work that you can't see. So it's perseverance. It's the stuff. It's, working when you don't feel like it. It's showing up when you're sick. It's like going, man, I got to do this again. It's extra hours. It's isolation. You just kind of read through the graphic there. Doubt, frustration, good habits. Does it make sense? And it is what gets you there is this, what we call in the advance, the reality of trade-offs. Every time you say, and there's a graphic for this you got with the hand right there. Yeah. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And every time you're saying no to something, that empowers you to say a yes to a different thing. Okay, so you think through that. If I say yes, I'm going to write this next book with Jim Bob. That means no, I don't have time to build this business. If I say no, I'm not going to go hang out with the boys next weekend. That means yes, I'm free to stay up reading, writing, hanging out with the kids, going out on a date, whatever it is. Does that make sense? There is always a trade-off. You have 24 hours. Really, you've got about 16 that you're awake, minus work, minus all the other shuffling and carpooling and nonsense you got to do. That's good nonsense. You got a limited amount of time and focus. You can't do everything.
But I really know, well, I know that a lot of people do this, but I know for Cindy and I specifically, this one slide right here, this one graphic has been one of the hardest things for us since we've been in practice and doing Young Living, because especially in the early years of our chiropractic practice, we didn't say no to anyone. We said yes to everything. Hey, will you speak of this thing? Yes. Can I get my kid in tomorrow? Yes. We're full, but yes. Can you come to that? Yes. Can you come to this event? Yes. And we said yes all the time because we felt like we had to, like we were in the spot of almost feeling obligated to do all the things, because if we didn't, we felt like we were missing out on so much. And that's just not true. Like, it's just that that law of multiplication and the law of stewardship, where, the Lord really teaches, like, when you plant this little seed, you grow an actual apple tree. But if you plant so many things, you're doing so much stuff, and you miss that whole, growth point, you can miss the things that are really important because you're saying yes to everything instead of only saying yes to the things, like in the previous video we talked about, that are really catalytic and they're the main thing.
Right. Yeah, you got to be intentional with it.
So much so.
Like you say, you can't do everything. Now, there's this great graphic that we have. I think you've got it right there. It's traffic light. We use it at the Advance. It's called Start, Stop, and Continue. I got this one from my cousin, actually. He used to work at Apple. And when he was kind of reviewing every month his employees, he would say, okay, there are things that you're not doing now that you need to start doing. And it was really life-giving about it. This wasn't like a chastising thing. Go back to lesson number 1. If you're wanting to build a business, okay, what are the things that are required to build a business that you're not doing? I'm not hosting classes. I'm not meeting new people. I'm not following up with the people who have ordered to get them on Essential Rewards. I need to start doing certain things. If you're wanting to lose weight, I need to start eating right. If I'm going to exercise, I need to start going to bed at a decent time. If I want to date my spouse, I need to start like actually planning a date night. So you feel in the blank. There's certain things you're not doing. You probably already know what they are. You need to start doing. He'd say, okay, list those out and put them on a calendar. Okay, don't cry about dreams that you don't achieve if you didn't calendar the actions required to reach the dream. So you calendar them, start them. Okay. Now, because of the reality of trade-offs, there are probably things you need to stop doing in order to make time for those things. So Netflix might become a stop, maybe. Staying up late might become a stop. Going out with the guys might become a stop. Extracurricular activities might become, and sometimes this happens not because of great things you want to achieve, but because of things that are just going on in life. I remember a couple of years ago, we had a crisis that hit our family, and like I stopped for our family all extracurricular activities. That meant gymnastics for one of the kids, stopped. That meant some of the schooling the kids were doing at the time, at the season, going outside, stopped, and we homeschooled. So it's not always a positive. It's not always a negative. It's just you've got a limited amount of time and focus. So you start certain things. You might have to stop other things in order to make time for those things. And then the reality is there are certain things you continue because they're absolutely the right things. And so you go, man, and you start sorting through your calendar and making sure that you keep doing those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. And I think there's two places where people really fall down on this. And one is I think that people hesitate. I know this. I'm saying this using myself, but I know that everybody deals with this. But they feel like, well, if they have to stop everything, it's for life. And it's really, a lot of it's just seasons. Like you're not going to have to restrict calorie intake, work out as hard as you are, and do all of these things for life. You're going to do it for a really short season to get to the point where you need to be, and then you can regulate it out and have a new normal schedule. If that's
right.
If it's weight loss and fitness, if it's business, especially in network marketing and in Young Living, I mean, people think, oh my gosh, I got to stop hanging out with all my friends and stop doing anything fun so that I can become successful. I'm never going to get to do anything fun again. That's not true. We've had more fun since Young Living than we've ever had in our life, but we have just said yes to so much more of the hustle and noticed some of the other things for seasons of time so that we could really push forward. And then I think the other side of it too, Andy, is that, that thing that the part at the end that continue the things that are working. That's so huge because I feel like, you see people do this all the time is they're going along right here and they feel like things aren't working the way that as fast as they should or as good as they think. But instead of continuing the things that are really good and just figuring out the other things to start or stop, they just stop everything and start something over here. Stop everything and start something new. It's like they're driving along in the car. And if I'm going from Fort Worth to Dallas and every 5 miles I go, this can't be right. And I turn around. And then I go 5 more miles. This can't be right. And I turn around. I'm going to be in the same 10-mile radius going in circles, going nowhere because I won't just keep going. At least just keep going forward. And then if I need to make a, exit off, get on a side road, something like that, just to make it easier, then, do that.
Yeah. Most people are just a few tweaks away from success. It's not radical. It's just very, very.
Don't you feel like people overcorrect? They're like, oh my gosh, hard left turn. They go the other way.
There's another graphic. Go ahead and flash through, not the next one that you've got that has the start, stop, and continue. We just talked about that. That's a great one. You can kind of write all that stuff out. Look at the next one. This is kind of related to the point you just said. Now look on the bottom there under the stop. There is this element where there are things that you want to stop that you absolutely want to stop forever.
Right.
So if you're trying to get healthy,
smoking. Perfect.
Probably want to stop forever. Some of you, alcohol intake. A couple of years ago, one of the guys at the Advance, Chris, he just said, hey, this isn't serving me in any way. He's now a health coach. He's like, I'm quitting forever. So Chris Proctor, he just like, I'm done. I'm tapped out.
Yeah, he's an amazing trainer now and takes on and
doing it great. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of giving him a shout out now, saying, man, that's a great decision for him. Like, yeah. Now, but there is this element right there, that no for now. And we kind of call this the no for now, not for later. That's really kind of an intentional delayed gratification or postponed gratification. So that means there may be certain things that you really enjoy and you push them off now so that you can pursue something better. Okay.
I got a good example of that, like even right now. So like my no for now, one of the things that I enjoy doing a lot is going to really late night movies. And I'll go with a buddy of mine and we'll go watch a movie, but we won't get out of the movie till like 1 or 2 a.m. because we'll go to like the 11 to 30. Well, I also have like fitness goals in this point where I'm really working on some stuff to really get in even better shape so that I'm taking pressure off the legs. So one of my no's for now is going to bed by 11 every night because it just helps so much with blood sugar and everything else. But that's a perfect example of like,
yeah, it is.
Not that like I can't do it later or can't go at another time. I just am stopping that late night movie because that way it gets me in bed faster.
It's not a sin issue or a moral issue. It is a hey,
this will help me get there quicker.
This will serve me better. And sometimes it's not even like it might be something like you did. You stopped it. It may be something that you want to start, but you go, hey, it's going to better me if I don't start this until later. So it works out. And again, and it's a thing where people, it's kind of an empowered postponement might be the best way to say that.
Exactly.
Go to the next slide and let's show people this, and then we'll wrap up and we'll show people oil related to the how. And that next slide is, this one's kind of ripped off from Stephen Covey from the four habits, there's 7 habits. There's 4 habits for people like me that can't get the other 3.
7 habits of highly effective people.
The 4 quadrants. And you guys can read this graphic. We'll put it in Oily App Plus where you can kind of see it and go through it. He categorizes everything and says everything is urgent or not, and it's important or not. Okay, so everything is either urgent or not, or it's important or not. And it's both. It has 2 characteristics. So look at the graphic. You just kind of slide everything in. Some things are urgent and not important. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but when that text message rings, usually it's urgent. Look at me, look at me, look at me, but it's not important.
Right.
Okay? Some things are urgent and they're important. If your house catches on fire, or here's a good example. The toddler poops in his pants. That's urgent and it's important. Handle it. Now, here's the point of all this. I'm not going to worry about this because you guys can figure it out. Here's the deal. Most of the actions that you're going to start or you're going to continue that are going to fuel your dream, most of those fall in this category. And we've kind of moved around his category. So just look at the box right there. They fall in that quadrant number 4 on our chart, which is they are not urgent at all, but they are important. That means you're trying to put together a thriving marriage. Date night with your spouse is never urgent. It is important. You're building, like my daughter just went to LSU, Emma. I talked to her on the phone tonight. That is not urgent unless she's dinging me needing money for something. Then it's like, help me, get me new shoes. But it's super important.
Right.
Building a business and the things, not urgent. It's not going to beg me to do it. It's important. Putting it together, the manuscript and the edits for the next book. It's not urgent. It's important. You see how that makes sense?
Yep.
So the actions required to move your dreams in the future are rarely going to beg you for your attention.
But they do suffer because we normally always stay up here in quadrants 1 or 2, or 1 or 3 rather. Like urgent, important, you're like handling that all day, every day. Oh my gosh, mom, I need this. Dad, I need this. Like, oh, the electricity just got shut off because you missed a bill. That's urgent and important. And you're dealing with that stuff, but then you don't do follow-ups on your business because you were handling all of these things. And so the not urgent, important stuff, the things that normally this is where all the catalytic actions fall, the wayside. Or, like you said, urgent, not important. Facebook and Instagram, 99.99999% of the time are urgent because it's showing up and it's updating.
Yeah, it's like
your face, but it's normally not important.
And a lot of people that say I'm working on Facebook and Instagram. No, you're not. You're like, no. You're like, just chill. No.
Yeah, that's normally not important.
Yeah.
And so down here, the not urgent, not important, this is like Netflix when you need to be doing important things. Like that's the stuff, the stop stuff. So.
Yeah, and some of the urgent stuff is important, but at the end of the day, you got to figure out how to afford it, and you got to do it. You got to crush it. Okay, so here's the oil right there for that one. I think you got a graphic. Motivation.
Yes.
So motivation to like stick to it, to do it, to hit it, to get those actions done, and to push off the ones that don't need done. Tell us about motivation real quick, and then I'll tell you the winner of motivation. I'm gonna look her up.
Okay. One thing that I love about what Gary Young started and what Young Living is continuing in his legacy of creating blends for purpose and creating blends to really, change people's lives is he labeled them and named them a specific thing. Like every blend is created to stimulate certain things or feelings or to stimulate different areas of the brain or the body to create certain changes. Well, the reason that they are like named certain things is so that you will actually actively think about that while you're using the oil. Like clarity, you're reading clarity. Oh, I want clarity of thought, clarity of focus, clarity of vision. In the last video, this is motivation because once you have the how, you're like, okay, I have the what, Young Living business. Let's say now the how, I'm going to teach classes, or I'm going to do one-on-ones, or I'm going to, okay, now I need the motivation to do something and like get into that first step and get going.
Right.
Motivation smells amazing. It's one of our favorite oils in the house, along with abundance. And so, use this one to really get off the couch, so to speak, in any area of life to really get started.
All right, I hope you got something out of that. And as always, I would encourage you to just get a pen and paper and make sure that you grab the entire series. So often on these podcasts, we tend to release them in series, not just one-offs. Occasionally we do that, but I would encourage you to go get the entire series. One thing that you might be interested in listening to that was a one-off related to this, I'll put the link in the show notes. It was my reflections on Forward, which was our New Year's event where we taught a lot of this information. And so that was kind of a standalone episode that I recorded before we launched into all these new 2021 series. Again, the link is in the show notes. Listen to the lessons I learned from Forward, because it's really kind of this meta of putting an event on about all of this advanced material and how you adapt and change and then just move forward. All right, here's the promised freebie. If you go into the show notes as well, there is a link to the free Advance Planner. Several years into the Advance, as we were teaching some of the concepts that you've now listened to, one of the guys, I was interacting with him, one of the guys is now on the Oily App team, and he said, I really think it would be great to have a tool where we could schedule and actually integrate what we're learning into all of life. And again, as I told you, men were leaving the event and setting goals about becoming better husbands and better fathers. And the trick is, how do you schedule that? How do you create a resource that empowers you? In your case, might becoming a stronger wife, a more connected spouse, a more engaged friend, someone with a dynamic faith life. I mean, it works in any area of life, weight loss, or just getting stronger, or running a marathon, or it works building a business. It works anywhere. And the result was a planner built around the concepts that we were actually developing. And so we've made that available for you absolutely free. You can download it. You can print it, reprint it as many times as you want. We do have a hardback version for sale. That information's on the same webpage where you download one absolutely free. Go to the show notes, oilyapp.com/free planner PDF. That information is there for you. I'm Andy Jenkins. I'll be back next week with another incredible lesson. Thanks so much for joining me.